Iron Stories, Episode 23, Corruption. Welcome back to another episode of Iron Stories. Yeah, it has been a bit of a longer time since the last episode. Of course, there was holiday seasons in between. But now I hope I can get back to the regular schedule of like bi-weekly episodes. So I had to also look a bit back what happened exactly last year, and I'll probably give a bit of a longer recap at the beginning here. I think the last adventure that our two adventurers, Jebran and Katania, went on was to go from Thornfields, where they encountered the Underkeep of Spectres, where they have like fled from this mining complex or something like that, and I wanted to go to Whitewood to get some answers, maybe just potentially just get away from whatever, and they got a bit sidetracked by a river and by a dark forest, or by a tanglewood actually, and they ended up in this wood that had an eerie presence about it, which is actually a woods or a forest that we encountered at the very beginning of these stories, which is Dark Forest, where Kaivan was searching for a missing hunter. But in between these two basically events, a long time has been passed. So the Dark Forest has succumbed completely to some sort of like corruption or similar that somehow originated in this forest, and but the only person that seems to have lived long enough to witness both events, from Holt's Barrow, where Kaivan fell, and the arrival of Jebran and Katania in the Tanglewood of Forbidden Blood is Nesana. And these both adventurers encountered her after some fight against a boar that has been infected by this iron curse or iron corruption or whatever. And so they followed her back to her camp, where she tended to the wounds of Jebran. And then turned, and then of course the Sana is as far as Jebran and Katania know, very unusual for them. They'd never seen a creature like it before, because as we know, Nesana is is born of the forest, as they call themselves, Natlas, which is like somewhat like elven like creature. So she has she has like ash, so she has a grayish greenish skin, some sort of that has like that looks like scales that look like leaves, and she wears, most notably, she wears a mask, a wooden mask on her face, that completely hides her face, of course, except for two holes for the eyes to look out. And what is special about the mask of Nesana herself is that she has like the mask is like split in, or has like a crack going from the middle of the top about like to the center of the mask, and like splits it a bit apart at the top. So they could also see a bit the ash, the gray greenish skin under the mask itself. So she escorted them back to her camp, which was made out of hollow tree, but from the hundreds or more years that have passed between these two events, she has made a more formidable camp here, more let's say permanent lodging, so to speak, where she tended to the wounds of Jebran, then sat beside them to the fire that is burning here, which she stoked again a bit, and then proclaimed, to answer your question about who I am Nesana, and you have to explain what you do in these woods. So that's where we are. We are around the campfire, and maybe a bit puzzled about that this creature is able to speak, and even to speak their language. Although I would say with a very thick accent, because of course it's not a native language of her, but she has picked up enough of it to speak it. Because she basically, so she's also like, as I define in the genesis of my world, is like these old races are like keeping to the shadows, or keeping back, and just observing these new arrivals, what they're doing. And so the elves are basically these things, these creatures born from the forest, to the Natlas. So she has kept observant, of course, about from the other settlements of the Ironlanders, kept a watchful eye on it, how they expanded, where they expanded, and also basically keep them out a bit from the forest, because she knows that something's not right here. And of course also I would say she is also like keeping tabs about this forest. So she has been sent by the other Natlas to keep an eye, because and that's when she encountered Kavan, because there's something going on in these forests. It's not natural. So yeah, but they all don't know this. It's just basically a recap of how she's here. And how they just perceive this thick accent from her. And I would say, since Katania is a bit more of the has the, say, youngish maybe not naivete, but like she's more inclined to speak with people. She's more open, more social, more empathetic, so to speak. I think she is more speaking up. Jebran is still like licking more or less his wounds. It's like the medicine, or the the makeshift help that he got from Asana, although effective, it also hurts. Like it's like when you put on alcohol on your open wounds, it just stings quite a bit. So it's like more or less like licking his wounds, closed up inwards, more grumbling than anything about this proclamation or exclamation of this creature that he never saw before, which he's still a bit wary against it and still a bit in defense against it, because it could still be poison. He doesn't know. But Katania is a bit more open, a bit more empathetic, maybe also a bit more curious on what exactly is that sits across them. At least they have a name, which she thinks is a gesture of good faith of some sort. So like, it gives us its name. So it's a sign of non-hostility, because if there's an enemy around, if it's not like a narcissistic one that just says, I am such and such, tremble before me, or something like that, it's more construed as some sort of like, not friendly in a sense, but like in a sense of, for the moment, let's just talk. I don't want to strike against you directly. So yeah, I would say that Katania is more able to pick up this subtlety, because she is more empathetic, and more maybe a bit trustworthy, which may or may not be good towards people. And she answers and answers, I would say, truthfully to her, and tells her who they are. So she basically says, I am Katania, and a grumbly old man is Jebran. We are explorers, adventurers, and we were on our way to another place when we stumbled into these woods during nightfall, and we are trying to get out of it ever since, because it's we don't have a good feeling about it, so to speak, especially I. But she keeps basically a bit back her past, and also Jebran is like giving her like a nod, or like looking at her intensely, which she also probably picks up to say not to talk or not to spill too much. It's still a very unknown creature, or damages. They don't know necessarily its capabilities. And Katania is maybe also a bit, like, as I said, she's maybe a bit curious in her youth still, and asks her, I would say, asks Nisana bluntly, that she never saw somebody like her. So Katania never saw somebody like Nisana. And asks her, she basically proclaims that she doesn't want to like interfere. It says, what creature are you? Because she doesn't want to directly be hostile against it, because it could be construed as hostile. If you say, hey, what creature are you? It's not really nice to say to people. And as I said, she's more empathetic and more social. She would cue in such details to not like spill it. She just asks, hey, I never saw somebody like you around, so you don't construe me as yeah. She doesn't exactly ask what are you. She just says, I don't know what you are, which is basically a somewhat subtler way to say it. and I would say at this point, Nasana, she's a bit more. I think she went through that with Kaivan already a bit, and she was snickety at him at the same point. She isn't really that like she isn't necessarily empathetic in that way. So I would say she still is she's answering again with I think with similar resentment to this, to say basically, so I am of the old people, the people native to these lands that you invaded, and in your language, we are called the ones that were born from the forest. So yeah, that's basically more or less what she says. She's basically giving them the impression so that you are basically invading our lands. So it's a bit like when the sentiment here is a bit like basically like when the American continent was colonized in the what was it, 1500s, around 1600s, around then, when the first settlers arrived in the new world, and of course it was already populated by the natives, that had them to show how to survive, etc. But here it's a bit different. I would say it still has the same thing here, though, that there are these foreign invaders that came in maybe in greater numbers, maybe with and especially this is more that the Ironlanders are more like hardy and battle, tend to do armed conflict or conflict resolution that ends in combat or in war, whereas these indigenous or these native people of the Ironlands, or what they are called now Ironlands, are a bit more inclined to do maybe more diplomatically speaking. But they kept themselves back. So she's basically just insinuating basically to say, hey, you are invading in our lands. We are just tolerating you here, and I am. Maybe she's also giving up a bit, like, so I am above you a bit, because of that. Especially since she is maybe a little bit in a position to say, hey, I saved you from there. I gave you now a camp or a roof over your head and tended to your wounds. Yeah, she's also a bit like, she doesn't get the subtleties of social interaction here to maybe say it in more nicer words or whatever, especially since she didn't have like contact to other people in so long. So she's maybe also a bit, well, not forgiven for saying that, but yeah, so she's basically just providing this information to them. So yeah, we are, or I am, of the people of the native people of these lands. You're invading, and uh, and yeah, so we are called the people that are born from the forest. And she acknowledges as well. Maybe to continue, she acknowledges that yes, this forest isn't natural. This forest, or the whatever happens in this forest is not natural. And she also like proclaims that she, in contrast to their lives that are quite short, she has lived many more years of their years, so to speak. So he's also acknowledging that she's very old, and she tells them that this forest has been corrupted for quite some time, for these hundreds of years, and they're right to shun this place, to wanting to trying to leave this place, but it's not that easy. The forest has its way to keep people in, to trap unwary travelers, explorers, adventurers, maybe even just like children that play too close to its borders, to trap them in, and to use basically their energy to stoke the corruption within, to make it even more powerful. And this has gone over hundreds of years, or maybe 100 years of their lifetime, and there's this, and she also is implying that the corruption started when you came, and she's again basically saying, with you, she means the Ironlanders. She is saying that it is them that brought this corruption. The land was fine before they came, and now it has been corrupted. So it's basically, she's basically saying it's your fault anyway that this is the case. And she then says as well, I am here to keep an eye on you, or on your people, and as well as the corruption that you have brought, to keep it at bay as best as I can. And I would even say she might be willing to help them escape the forest, because she doesn't necessarily directly want them to like to nourish the forest even more from the corruption itself, or to stoke the corruption more. So she says, that's basically it. So that's what her purpose is in these woods. So she's saying, yeah, I would be willing to help you, but I need something in return from you. And maybe Jebran is now chipping in as well, as he has heard Nesana talking about, and he's also like a bit so a bit of his honor is a bit like chipped, because she's talking to to them a bit. So this is, yeah, your people. So now it becomes a bit of a racial slur here. So a bit of basically racism in a sense. So that she is proclaiming, yeah, it's all your fault because you're different than us. And of course, this is something that, of course, Jebran picks up, and he's more quickly to defend himself, to say, no, it's not us. Whatever are you talking about? We are currently the upper hand, even if he's a bit hurt, but he's picking up a bit, but what he's mostly picking up, and what he's mostly, I would say, interested is as soon as she speaks about the corruption that originates from or that had taken hold in the forest. He then asks if the corruption that she speaks of has something to do with animals with this iron or these iron crystals coming out of animals. So if she has seen something like this, or is this something they saw as if this is part of this corruption, and if so, he says that they have seen it outside of this forest as well. And Asana, from hearing this, becomes a bit more concerned. And she says, well, yeah, so probably the corruption has spread beyond the forest. It's maybe not as powerful as it is within this forest. It has spread, and it may take root in other places and flourish there as well, similar as it does within this forest. So she also doesn't know if this forest is the first one to succumb to this corruption, if it's the last thing that has succumbed to such sort of corruption, but she fears that it is spreading, and if it isn't stopped at some point, it will probably consume the whole land, and the whole land will fall into this corruption, which she definitely doesn't want to happen. So it becomes clear a bit more now that since, and maybe Nisana is also like, because she's also under tension, because there are two people here that could easily, or she doesn't know that, but they could maybe defeat her as well. And but now the tension is maybe a bit loosened, just because they seem to have found some sort of common ground to discuss. This corruption is now within their in their minds to discuss, and so there's like common ground here for now that they can keep, or that they can discuss about where there are where they find common ground. So they're discussing here, and so Nesona then tells them, well, there has been one before you a long time ago, and she's basically telling here about Kaivan, so that has come before you, one of the firsts, or one of the earliest to fall into the corruption. So she has, maybe when she also was younger, maybe a bit more foolish, sent him into cleaning up the mess, and was probably one of the or one of the first victims to fall to the corruption as well, within the barrow that lies within this at the heart of this forest, which is of course, as we know, the Holdfast Barrow. And what they found there, so they found a what looks like a temple or a place of religion of your people, that spoke of an old warlord of yours that has conquered, or that came first to these lands and conquered it in a blood war, and has been buried here, and basically, or has been buried there alive, and so she's recounting what they found about San the Bloodied, which was buried in this barrow, in the Holdfast Barrow, there, and which is also what killed, or well, she doesn't know exactly, because she sent Kaivan alone into the core of the barrow where he fell. She escaped the barrow narrowly, and could only see how Zahn was together with maybe multiple of his lieutenants and soldiers, or what remains of them, basically, because of course the time has taken its toll on their physical bodies, and has transformed them, maybe in these sort of husks that they already saw, or that also Jebran and Katania saw already in the mines, maybe. So she, or Nesana, saw this creature leaving the tomb, leaving its resting place, and with it came more corruption. So because she saw that, or she presumed that somehow this guy was sealed in, but she doesn't know if the corruption, if Zahn, or if this creature that was Zahn is just basically a pawn in the corruption, or the source of the corruption. She doesn't know exactly. But ever since, she tried to find a way to at first at least clean the corruption from this forest, and then return to her people, and to basically try to find Zahn and clean this the world of even more corruption, but she since has failed in clearing the corruption in the forest here, as they witness, of course, and so the forest is still trying to lure and trap travelers in its place to stoke, to nourish the corruption within. So, but she says she would be so when she left the place, she had to leave behind a possession of hers that she wants back, which of course, as we know, is a now I have to check up this. I think Kaivan got a sword or a dagger from her. I would say, yeah, I think she gave him a dagger or a silver sword to Kaivan. Yeah. So I think so. She says, yeah, there is something in the barrow there that she needs back. And she would be willing to help them escape, if they help her to get it back. There might be some resistance from other people that have fallen into this forest before, that she cannot handle herself. But seeing that they were able to, that they seem to be capable, what she could see, what she could have seen when they fought the boar, that she that between us three, they would be probably be able to defeat whatever has been left in the barrow, to get to this item that she wants back, that's dear to her. Yeah, and I would say that this is a proposition that she makes, that she says, yeah, or they could try and find their own way out, but she doubts that that they would be successful anyway. Of course, it's now questionable why she would do this, even to stoke further or nourish further the Tanglewood. But she is maybe a little bit helpless in that sense, that she's not really able to control. I mean, they're here anyway, so they're trapped, as far as she knows. Of course, she could lead them out, but if she wouldn't have found them, they would have the corruption would have taken hold of them anyway. So it's basically, while they're here, I can use them anyway, and if not, I might be considered on helping the corruption to spread further, but at least I try to do something. And she just wants to get her possessions back that she 100 years ago gave another one of these people and never got back. So she really wants that thing back. So yeah. So I would say that's what she makes as proposal to them. Yeah. So I would say at this point, again, as I said, Katania is more empathetic in a way, so she is probably more willing to guess, okay, they could try to get out of here themselves, but if they can help here and to get out quicker, why not? So I would say that she wears, or that she is wearing the Iron Vow here. Jebran is not really. I mean, Jebran is only taking vows when he can, when he senses payday behind it. So if he can, if he knows that there's something again, that something to gain here. Yeah, I would say that Katania is swearing the vow here. So let's roll here first. So of course it's hard, which she is good at. Again, as I said, she's empathetic here. Oh, that's a really good roll. That's a strong hit, which is good. Yeah, you're in Boulder and it's clear what you do must next. Well, of course they know what they need to do next. They need to help her. It's not that hard to guess. So she takes plus momentum. But what also is interesting, I rolled here a double one on the opportunity dice, or on the challenge dice, which gives me an opportunity. Which I would say the opportunity here is that it maybe makes the wow a bit easier. That maybe they've the fortune is on their side a bit, or the fate is on their side a bit here. That as it happens, that the corruption seems to be at a low point here. So when they will encounter resistance, the resistance may be not that hard specifically. So I'd say this is a dangerous vow here. And I would say this helped Nisana find her lost silver dagger in Holdfast Barrow. And so yeah, that's it. And the threat here is basically the Iron Corruption. But it is not really that. It's many things. It's just for me as a reminder. So that's what's basically here. So Nisana says, so yeah, she basically says that she's glad that they have come to the conclusion that helping her is a good thing here. She also suggests to gather their strength as much as they need before they venture out to this place, to the Holdfast Barrow, to maybe she's also like offering some sort of access to her supplies. So basically says, yeah, if you need to repair something on your armor, or like sharpen your blades or whatever, she can provide some tools to do that. So like make preparations for tomorrow, as tomorrow we will go to this place and there will be resistance. Of course, the question is how strong the resistance is. But as we know, that since there is an opportunity, the resistance is not as hard as it could be, but it still probably is dangerous anyway. So make your preparations on night or on daybreak. We will head out. It's not a good idea to go to the corruption when it's even darker outside. I mean, at least there's some sort of light coming in, but not that much. Because again, the forest is a bit darkened out. So yeah, so she basically says, make your preparations, make camp, prepare yourselves. And then we head out tomorrow in the morning. she will take first watch. And with that, she like stands up and goes a bit into the forest and like basically gets out of sight for Katania and Jebran. But they sense and they think that they are still being watched by her. They just can't see her really. Where she's around, and this fits a bit into her character that I created for her, or that I'm envisioning for her. I have to flesh her out a bit, but she's really good in the shadows. She can hide really well. She fights from the shadows as well. But yeah, so they, I would say they will make camp here. Katania is making camp here. So let's check. And since they get supplies a bit from her, I would say it's they don't suffer supply if it is. It's still a weak hit because on the challenge dice, of course, I rolled a 10. I would say, that I take recuperate, so take +1 health for you and any companions. So, I don't know if like companions is also made. So the question is here, because here it says allies and companions. I think it's not specifically an asset. Yes, it is. Okay, so no, then not. So basically probably not what I wanted. So I want more or less like a strong hit. But yeah, I think. Okay, then I would say she prepares, which makes sense. So when we break camp, I add +1 if you undertake a journey, which they will take probably to get to the Hold for Sparrow. So Jebran is still a bit woozy. He's still a bit hurt, so he still has just +4 health and +4 spirits, whereas Katania is still full. But they will probably gain another fighter in Nesana, as she will accompany them to Hold for Sparrow. I would say in the next episode. So yeah, this episode was again a bit of a. I think it was a good episode to like link everything together that we have seen so far, and to maybe give also the Iron. I would say I give it now a name. This Iron Corruption is now a name and seems to be some sort of like bigger problem than first anticipated. Or well, currently they know it's probably spreading. They don't know how far it is yet, but it doesn't seem to be a local problem within the forest, but it seems to be spreading across the lands. So yeah, that's probably interesting to explore, and especially what San has to, or how San fits in there. There's still some things open that we can find out later, or find out as we go along. So yeah, next time we will see, or we get back into the Hold for Sparrow and see what we encounter there. Yeah, and as I said, I still need to flesh out a bit the character of Nesana. I have some idea on how I want to build her, and so from 2 characters to play, I go back up to 3 characters to play, to see how this works. So yeah, let's we see us then in the next episode of Iron Stories. I hope to hear you again.